Hey, what's up everyone? AJ Writes Crypto here to give you a pretty serious market update. The video I put out the other day about the market coming down, with the S&P, Bitcoin, Ethereum, the total crypto chart, all signs pointing down and to the right, unfortunately. I don't want that to be like apocalypse market reversal. I do think we are going to bleed, but the question is how much. And for the altcoins specifically, what levels are we looking at? At what point do we really start to get scared? And is there a case that it's not that bad? Is there a case that we turn around and this is just a temporary dump? Let's look into it. So right here is the chart for HBAR. Of course, I'm going to go over a lot of the coins that are in my public portfolio. If you're looking for a portfolio update, one will be coming your way in a couple days. Anyway, so HBAR, right here's the story. We really needed to get above 10 cents, the 2023 high. Unfortunately, we wicked there, but we got rejected ultimately, and we're headed back down. I would say that the most important support resistance level for HBAR to hold is this white line right here, which is right around 6.7 cents. Okay, 067. And we're still alive. HBAR has not hit that level yet. It's 7.5 cents at the time I'm making this video. But I do want to point out, a kind of a bearish scenario, unfortunately, when you zoom in on this chart and look at the 12-hour. So here we are at the 12-hour chart for HBAR. And a lot of these charts have a similar setup. And if you want to interpret this one as shoulder, head, shoulder, that is kind of a cut and dry case of a head and shoulders pattern. So what we do is first we find the neckline. So we're going to determine this as the neckline, and then losing this level, this low right here at 0.73, that would be the confirmed point of sale. The point of is this thing going to play out? Probably. So we go from the high, we draw to the neckline, and then the measured move is going to be that amount from the bottom, which ironically takes us to a support resistance level at HBAR, around 5 cents, a little less than 5 cents, which is a very important support resistance level from back here. A price, between 4 and 5 cents, HBAR did spend a lot of time there last year. So, if we're going to interpret that as a head and shoulders, that is a possibility of that could play out. But at the same time, when you zoom in here on the 2-hour chart, it does look like it is putting up a fight at this support resistance line. Just because, these things get invalidated, just because there's a bearish divergence on a large time frame, that does not 100% mean that it's going to play out. Just because something could be interpreted as a head and shoulders does not 100% mean that could play out. But I'm always going to point those things out and say, hey, this could happen. That is a possibility based off the technicals. But at the same time, HBAR is putting up a fight at this very important support resistance line. Like I said, about 0.73 is this support resistance line right here. The most important support resistance line for HBAR, in my opinion, is the 0.67. But in the meantime, let's set our alarms at the 0.73 and see if this thing can put up a fight. All you have to do is go to Trading View, draw the trend line, click the little alarm button right there, go once per bar so it only doesn't go off once because things happen multiple times. Click create and we will be updated. We will know if HBAR is losing this fight or if it continues. I mean, there is an idea here, that could have been the dip. We're starting a little baby uptrend. Maybe we start to turn around here, but we will look into other ideas on other charts. But I just do want to give you the scenario, the bull bear scenario with HBAR. Right here, right now, we're putting up a fight at the support resistance level. We lose this level. If we lose this level, of course, we're going to put a short in from here to at least here, which is, an 8.6 or 7% trade. You do that with 10x leverage, you might have made 80%. So there you go. Going to keep the ball rolling here, and we're going to look at Algorand. Remember what I said months and months and months ago when we were on our way up? Getting above the 16-cent level was the do or die level for Algorand, in my opinion, back then when there was a bullish divergence playing out on the 5-day. Once we crossed the 16-cent level, we went all the way up to, 25 cents, a 60% pump from that level, basically on Christmas, the week after Christmas. I did call that trade. That was amazing. Big shout out to anyone who made money on that trade. But now we have a similar scenario with Algorand that we do with HBAR. This one's much more clear than HBAR's head and shoulders, but the head and shoulders on Algorand, pretty cut and dry with this head and shoulders. So what are we going to do? Once again, we're going to find the neckline, which I would say is about right here. We're going to go from the top of this, draw this down, and see that measured move all the way down here. Just because there is a head and shoulders doesn't mean it's 100% going to play out. Just because there is this formation doesn't 100% mean we're going to come down to, 11 cents, 12 cents. And ironically, just like with HBAR, when you draw the head and shoulders, it takes us down to another support resistance line. This is why support resistance levels are so important to know for when you're going up, when you're going long, and when you're going short. Because if you go short, something loses an SR, you can short it to the next SR, and you could pretty much predict close to how much you could make on that trade. It's a very important concept to know. So with that said, at the same time, similar to HBAR over here, how HBAR is still putting up a fight at this support resistance line, and the 067 support resistance line on HBAR, that line, we're still above that line. Same story with Algorand. Algorand is still above the 16 cent level, that yellow line right there. As long as Algorand stays above 16 cents, I am not panicking. Would I like, a reversal idea to stay above, this little 17 cent line here, similar to HBAR? It looks like on the small time frame, bullish divergence on the 2-hour chart, anchor wave, trigger wave with price going down. So to see Algorand get back above 17.7 would be really good in the short term, and we still have a bullish narrative for the fight, considering the fact that, it hasn't lost this previous low. Just because things are going down doesn't mean it's the end of the world if it's still holding up levels. So definitely make sure you have alarm set on these levels. You know what's happening. And if Algorand loses 16 cents, that's where the blood in the streets is really going to happen. I just want you guys to know with these altcoins that we pay attention to a lot on this channel, what levels to look for, when to get in, when to get out. It's all self-explanatory, especially if you draw these charts yourself and set alarms yourself. So when, the level hits the alarm, you get an email, you get a text message. Do your homework, stay up on that. It can save you and make you a lot of money. So here we are over at the graph. Some of you might remember this Twitter post I put up a little while ago over at Twitter at AJ Writes Crypto, that the graph needs to hold this support resistance level from this local top right here at 17.7. Unfortunately, the graph has lost that support resistance level, but that's not the support resistance level for the graph. Let's zoom in here on the 12-hour chart and get a better look. So here we are at the 12-hour chart, and you can see, similar to HBAR, similar to Algorand, that the graph is putting up, a fight at a support resistance level right here at 15 cents 31, so 0.1531. I think the most important support resistance level for the graph to hold at this point is down here at 13.4, so basically 13.5 cents. If you come over here, you see like how many times this level here has been tested. We're talking about this level right here. So we really want to see the graph hold this level. If it loses that level, that's when I really start to get scared. Also, similar to HBAR, similar to Algorand, there's the setup, everyone. Shoulder, head, shoulder, okay? And this one is, it's unfortunate that this is happening. I would consider this line here the neckline. You go from the top to the bottom of the neckline. You pull this down, and actually it's very interesting if this head and shoulders to the downside is to completely play out where that line leads to. Because if you zoom out here on, say, like a 2-day chart, this overall uptrend, this uptrend right here, that it would put us to the bottom of that uptrend. So, and so technically speaking, as long as the graph from the beginning of 2023 as long as it respects this line, it can technically still be in an uptrend. It can technically fall from 15 cents to 8 cents and be in a macro uptrend, even if it really hurts your bags in the short term. I would say holding this support resistance line right here at 15.37, very big deal. Would love to, like on the smaller time frame, similar to HBAR, similar to Algorand, has a bullish divergence. Look, playing out on the 2-hour chart. A lot of these coins are trying to put up fights at these support resistance levels. Would love to see it stay above the 15.37. The do or die level for the graph, like the 16-cent level is do or die for Algorand. For the graph, I believe it's at 13.4, about 13.5 cents. If we lose that, hopefully we don't come all the way down to this trend line. It could get this bad, but I'm really hoping that they put up this fight. Make sure you have alarm set and you're following these charts very closely, especially if you're holding large bags like myself. So going to follow up on my video from the other day, this is really where the rubber hits the road, on the Bitcoin chart. We have this 3-day bearish divergence playing out, oscillators going down on Market Cipher B. Click the link down below in the description if you want to get Market Cipher, with the price going up right here. Really, right now for Bitcoin, it's imperative that Bitcoin holds the 40,000 level, this white line right here. Really, really needs to hold this line for Bitcoin, especially, if this total downtrend idea plays out. It's not the end of the world. Like I said in the video before, we had a very similar bearish divergence case. Let me scoot it over so you guys can see it. Over here before the sell in the May walk away dump, oscillators down, anchor wave, trigger wave, And then, we recovered. We recovered it. It took a couple months. It took a long time, but it's not the end of the world when these things happen. And the macro idea of, bull run a year and a half after the Bitcoin halving, that can very much be in play, even if we have a pre-halving dump now. But in the short term, we would love to see Bitcoin hold 40,000. You see how Bitcoin, similar to the graph, similar to HBAR, similar to Algorand, is putting up a fight at a support resistance level. All four of these charts are putting up a fight at a support resistance level with a bullish divergence on the 2-hour chart. So, it's not the end of the world here. I just really want you guys to be aware of what is possible if the bottom falls out and what levels to look for if you're going to sell and buy back in, or if you're going to go short. I just want you guys to know what is going to happen if we lose these levels. So with Bitcoin losing 40,000, of course, we're looking to go to 38, which would be this level right here, from that previous price action, and 36 from this level over here, right there. See that level. So that would be the staircase down with previous support resistance lines from Bitcoin. But really what we don't want to see with Bitcoin, if we lose 40,000, it would really hurt. It would not be the end of the world. I think the end of the world conversation starts to begin with Bitcoin if we come all the way down here and we lose this level, 32,000. This right here was a value area in 2023. Okay, and that level was between 32,000 and 25,000. We don't want to go back into the old value area. In my opinion, if Bitcoin comes all the way down and bounces off 32,000 and stays above it, good. I'm okay with it if Bitcoin goes to 32,000, as long as it does not fall below it back into this value area. Right now it's at 41,000. Let's really hope that Bitcoin stays above that 40,000 level, and that, like, this whole market apocalypse idea, it might not play out. I'm just telling you that it's kind of looking that way from the macro. Let's look at a couple other charts that could maybe prove me wrong. So since I made the video with the market crash and the bear claw and everything, the S&P actually found a way to turn around. First of all, let's look at the 5-day chart here. This is the top of 2021, the beginning of 2022. This, the top of the stock market bull run. And, right now, this thing has turned around in the past couple hours. And this yellow line here, this thing just put in a higher high. The S&P 500 just put in a higher high. So could the market reversal idea be invalidated? Well, first of all, the Algorands, the altcoins, the Bitcoin, they have to put up serious fights at the support resistance levels. They lose those levels and start, macro downtrends. But that's when we start talking 32,000. That's when we start talking 11 cents for Algorand. That kind of stuff can happen. But when you see the S&P, in my opinion, the stock market and Bitcoin are risk assets. They are certainly connected to some degree. And if the S&P, gets above this all-time high, this higher high, bounces off of it and keeps going up, this is good for Bitcoin. This is good for altcoins. Let's hope that the S&P turnaround story, I made the bear video right here looking like it was coming down. It has turned around since then and went above that all-time high. So let's keep a close eye on the S&P and see if it can stay above and remain above this all-time high. The last chart I want to take a look at today is no other than the dollar. This is really a story in itself here. If you consider the bear market of 2022, look at the dollar. The dollar had a bull market in 2022 from all them hiking the interest rates, right? So that when the dollar gains value, the markets lose value. It is that simple. Look at the bull run in 22, and we had a bear market in 22. It's an inverse proportional relationship here. And also, look at this in recent history. You don't think that the dollar is connected to crypto? It certainly is. When did crypto really start to pop off? October, November last year. Look at where the dollar topped off. September, October, November. It fell down in Q4. And this right here is when crypto sparked off. So definitely keep an eye on the dollar and know that what the dollar is doing, crypto is going to do the opposite. If you consider that, we had our local top in crypto Christmas time, the week of New Year's Eve. The dollar was down here at a support resistance line, and since then has popped up, about 2 or 3% in the past 22 days. And since then, since Christmas, basically, crypto has been bleeding. But guess what? I think the dollar is very likely, according to technical analysis, that I think the dollar could easily turn around and come back down and retest this local low right here, especially when you consider that this support resistance level didn't even come close to it. When you consider this level here, this little local high, it's not getting above that. And when you zoom in here, it looks like it's going to get rejected from the 200 EMA, which would be really good reversal idea for the dollar. So, there are a lot of signs in the news as well. I don't just make this stuff based off charts and nothing else but charts. In the news, with Jamie Dimon and the ETF, like things are not looking the best in the news itself. And then when I think about that and I look at the charts with crypto, even though the S&P has broke above this all-time high, you cannot deny that on the 5-day chart, we have price go up, bearish divergence on a 5-day chart. So you see what I'm saying here? There's kind of this fight between large time frames, bear pattern, bear ideas, market reversals on large time frames, but on the short time frames with Bitcoin, with Algorand, HBAR, the graph, they're putting up fights at local support resistance lines. This is what I want you to do. Every chart that I just drew, I want you to go draw those same lines, those same support resistance lines on every chart I just talked about, and set alarms on your phone. So okay, it's losing this level. I need to do something. I need to make a short. I need to consider selling my bags and waiting and buying back in 10% later. Do something. Don't just learn this information and don't make a move. In crypto, you have to be quick on your feet or you won't get rich. You'll just get wrecked. So you have to be very careful. There are ideas for major downfall. But like I said, with Bitcoin, we need to hold 40. And if we lose 40, we really need to hold 32. With Algorand, we really need to hold 16. All those levels I drew, very, very important levels. Keep a close eye on the dollar, as I think if the dollar reverses again, Bitcoin could hold 40 and that would save the altcoins. I think if Bitcoin loses 40, goes to 38, 36, those altcoins are really going to bleed and maybe those head and shoulders patterns really could pay out. So my point here is that I don't want you guys to predict. I want you guys to react. And when you have all your levels set, you have all your alarms set, you have your finger on the pulse and you know what is happening, it's much easier for you in terms of trading to react to the price levels rather than saying, oh, I think it's going to go down. No, don't just think it's going to go down. Make an informed decision and react to the market and give yourself a chance to win. Make sure you get in the charting, draw those levels, set those alarms, watch your phone, watch the market like a hawk. My name is AJ Wrights Crypto. Get rich or get wrecked later.